Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So obviously, much of the success or whatever I've had up until this point on YouTube for my channel has been mostly based around League of Legends, roster moves, free agency, contracts expiring, players switching teams, all of this kind of stuff. Now, obviously, not a ton of this happens during the season, so many of the people who come to my channel for stuff like that, we don't have as much to talk about during the year, but what I did think and wanted to go over in this video today would be a great starting point for potentially setting us up for an awesome offseason in 2022 was going over all the players who right now have expiring contracts at the end of this season. Now, yes, all the time we see players who don't even have expiring contracts change teams, and sometimes they're the biggest moves of the whole offseason. But with all these guys who do have expiring contracts, we know at the very least that a decision is going to be made between them and their team, or not made between them and their team very soon. And there are most likely candidates to be on the move or retiring, done altogether, who knows what. But I think there are some interesting discussions to be had about every single player that is about to be a free agent in 2022. So that's what I want to go over today. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. A little bit different kind of video content topic, but I think this is going to be very interesting. This is something I love talking about. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. I want to say thank you guys so much for helping us hit 10,000 subscribers. This is now the third time we have hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel. Maybe this will be the time we hold it. Maybe we'll go back down to 9,000 something. Who knows? But I do know that around like 49% of you guys are not subscribed, even if you watch my videos on a regular basis. So, hey, just hit that button real quick. Help us get to 11K, 15K, 20K, 100K, whatever. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, I tweeted about this stuff on Twitter at I_am_germ. We'll start off in the LEC. Some of the interesting LEC players on the final year of their contract. Now, again, these guys theoretically have a ton to play for. They are all potentially about to be out of jobs. They're potentially playing for their careers. They're also potentially playing for like a massive raise or, an extension from their team or an offer from some other team out there. We see all the time players come and go out of both the LEC and the LCS. Even some players that we think deserve to have a spot still. There's just not a ton of spots. 10 teams in the LCS, 10 teams in the LEC. There's just not a lot of spots. There's more good players than there are spots. So you should be, going all out. You should be playing really well. But it's also interesting with every single one of these players, especially the better players, the performing players, there's a decision being made either by them or their team to not be renewing their contract right now. So then it always makes you wonder, like, hey, is the team considering not bringing this guy back? Is this guy considering leaving the team? Is this guy considering retiring? Does this guy think he's worth more and he wants to prove it? Does the team think he's maybe not worth as much and they want to see what happens? There's so many different reasons why a person would be on a contract that's about to expire. Obviously, we see extensions happen all the time, and maybe even some of these players will be extended throughout the season, but there's also a ton of reasons why we see contracts expire and we see players and teams move on. So first up, Advian, very interesting. Obviously, he's with Excel Academy now. BT Excel, they have Mickey. They've been doing pretty well with Mickey, but Advian was pretty good for Excel, and it seems like there would be a lot of teams potentially interested in him. Now, depending on what happens with Vitality, I think Advian could be an awesome pickup for Vitality, especially if Lebron kind of continues to underperform like he has so far this year. I'm trying to think. I don't really know any other teams off the top of my head that I think would be that interesting for Advian. Obviously, like Astralis, some teams like that. I think Advian is definitely LEC level, and it sucks that he's not there yet. Also, we have Bean. This guy is obviously a academy player in the LEC. He subbed in for Fnatic at Worlds last year. Him and Hylissang together did very good. Now, there's one camp that's like, oh my god, Bean must be pretty good. He subbed into Worlds short notice. He stood toe-to-toe with some of the best bot lanes in the world. He proved that he's capable. At the very least, he deserves an LEC shot. At the very most, he might be a really good LEC AD carry. And then the other side is, hey, this guy got to lane with Hylissang. Hylissang makes all of his AD carries look like a beast. How would this guy look at Astralis laning with Promise Q or, on some other team that doesn't have Hylissang as support? I don't know, but I think Bean is going to be an interesting free agent. And I think hey, he deserves a shot in the LEC for sure. Then we have Oduamna, who is about to be a free agent. This guy kind of surprises me because this is one of those situations where I think he makes a ton of sense on Rogue. I'm not sure why him and Rogue haven't come to an agreement in terms of, some kind of contract extension or whatever. Obviously, coming into this year, I could see why he maybe wouldn't have wanted to re-sign a new deal with Rogue because there was huge question marks. We didn't know how good Rogue was going to be after losing Hans Sama, after losing Inspired. But obviously, Rogue looks really, really good so far. Now, how's it going to go in playoffs? Are they going to make MSI? Are they going to make Worlds? How's that going to go? And if Oduamna does decide to move on, where's he going to end up? I'm not sure. I think he is going to have plenty of options because I think he is one of the better top laners in the LEC. I don't really see him retiring anytime soon or anything like that, but it seems like it's kind of hard for him to move up really higher than Rogue at this point. So I don't know. That's one of the kind of weirder ones to me. I want to skip down. I forgot to put Marcoon on this list, but Marcoon is also going to be a free agent. He's another guy who I hope he re-signs with XL. Yes, if he's a free agent, it could be interesting, but I know a lot of the top teams have good junglers right now, so I don't know if there's a ton of room for him to move up. I also don't know if he's been playing so insane that he deserves like some kind of massive raise or anything like that. I think he's been very good, but I think he probably needs to have, a couple more good years at Excel. We have Lebron, who, like I said before, I do kind of think Lebron is in trouble. I think Lebron is a guy who is really playing for his future at this point. Now, I think he's good. I think he deserves some kind of shot in the LEC or whatever, but he's not been great for Vitality this year, and I think he's definitely at risk of potentially losing his spot. That's the other thing. When you're on an expiring contract, the team has more kind of incentive to move on from you in the beginning of this or during the season, maybe even between spring and summer, because if they don't have any interest in re-signing you for the future, why wait until the offseason or until next year to start that transition process when they can just start it a little bit earlier and maybe even get the ball rolling or maybe even turn around their 2022 season. If spring split doesn't go well for Vitality right now, they're on like the edge of even making playoffs. But if they miss playoffs or get knocked out early in playoffs, Lebron is definitely a guy I could see getting, subbed out potentially for an Advian, potentially for, somebody else. I know Vitality B support is like Jack Troll, so I don't really think Lebron's at too much of a issue there. But I know Selfmade has said, hey, me and Lebron are not playing that well together. There definitely seems like some issues there. Speaking of Selfmade, he's going to be a free agent. He's always a guy that I think could be a candidate to maybe go to the LCS. I don't really know exactly what that means or where that's going to be, but we'll definitely talk more about Selfmade in the future. And then also, Video, I do believe coming into this next season will possibly be the biggest free agent in all of the West. I really think this guy, at least right now, is performing as the best player in the LEC, potentially the best player in the entire West, potentially one of the best players in the world right now. He is carrying this Misfits team, and like this Misfits team is good, but they're not great. They're not like a stacked roster. He isn't playing amazing. He's getting so many player of games. This guy's popping off. I know people say like, oh, mid lane's weak right now, or mid lane isn't a 1v9 role or whatever, yet this guy is 1v9ing a lot of games on mid lane. He's young, he's exciting, he still has room to grow more, and I think he deserves a ton of money and to get on a better roster. This is definitely another guy that we're going to have like dedicated videos to, just talking about his kind of future and stuff. But he is set to be a free agent, which I did think is kind of interesting. Then when we pop over to the LCS, not as many interesting free agents, but there are a couple. Obviously, I think the biggest free agent kind of situation in the LCS is going to be Spica. At least he's going to be like the most talked about. He's a defending MVP. A lot of people see him as the last hope of the future of TSM. And he's going to have a very, very big decision to make. He's going to have to decide, do I want to come back to TSM? Do I believe in their long-term prospects, long-term outlook? I think many people expect no, he probably doesn't, because why, if you're in the prime of your career, would you want to play in the middle of a rebuild? That doesn't really make sense. It's another reason why TSM should be going all in on this roster right now while they have an MVP on their team. I digress. Spica's going to have probably a ton of LCS opportunities and offers. He's also potentially going to jump ship to the LPL. That's going to be a very, very interesting story to follow. Huni, who knows what's going to happen with him? It seems like TSM really likes him. I think it's pretty clear that he's really not that good and doesn't necessarily meet the standards that a team like TSM should want. I think his options are kind of maybe a bottom 5 LCS team next year on a pay cut, or maybe out of the LCS entirely. Who knows? That would be kind of crazy. Someday is an interesting one as well. Obviously, it seems like 100 Thieves kind of has his replacement training up right now in Tenacity. Would someday move on to another team? is someday going to be the next top laner for TSM? Is someday going to retire? Is he going to return to Korea? I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. He could go to like a coaching position with 100 Thieves as well. I don't know. Somebody's having a pretty good season so far, but the last couple of years he's been a little bit up and down. He's been a little bit hit and miss. Then there's Impact, and Impact's another guy. Hey, retirement could potentially be on the table. He could return to EG. He could look to move up in the world. Who knows? Is he going to be an option for TSM? Is he going to be an option for another one of these LCS teams? Could he go back and play in Korea? Retirement, coaching, who knows? A ton of interesting options. And then Core JJ, I think the best player on this list, of either list. And it's very, very interesting to me that he has not agreed to any kind of contract extension with Team Liquid. You know, Team Liquid went out and got this super team. They got this huge roster. They're paying him all this money. They got him his green card. It seems like everything is going right for Core JJ and Team Liquid. Why don't they have a deal in place? Why don't they have an extension in place? That makes me wonder, is Core JJ considering retirement? I can't see him leaving Team Liquid. I think he's gonna, end his career with Team Liquid. But we know, he has a lot of stuff going on outside of League of Legends. He has had a very, very insane career. He doesn't really have anything left to prove at this point except, maybe making a run in NA, maybe making a run with Team Liquid, trying to go out on top, doing something special, having the best kind of international performance in LCS history, which maybe this team this year will do. But I don't see Core JJ going to any other teams. I think it's really Liquid or bust for him. But maybe he was waiting on seeing to get his green card so he can get a better offer, or maybe there is a possibility that this could be Core JJ's last season. Who knows? But these are some of the biggest free agents headed into the 2022 season. Again, that does not mean that these are the only guys that could potentially move teams. It just means that, hey, these are guys that a decision is going to have to be made about them one way or another, and they are definitely some of the more interesting candidates for potential offseason moves headed into the 2023 season. Yes, it's February. Yes, it's way too early to talk about any of this, but this is the stuff I love to talk about. I know this is stuff that a lot of you guys love to talk and speculate about, and again, a lot of these guys very, very soon, next couple of weeks, next couple of months, I will be making individual videos about a lot of these guys. Speak, I think, is a very interesting one. VTO, Selfmade, a lot of these guys. There's just a lot to talk about. But just kind of wanted to get all this info out to you guys. I was digging through the global contract database today. Was looking through all the stuff and tweeted out. The tweets did pretty well. So I thought it would make a good video. Definitely drop a like if you guys did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. These kind of weirder, different videos, they're the ones that always need the more support. When I make a video like, oh, LS got fired, that video is going to pop off. I don't really need your like as much. Videos like this, your likes, your comments, everything like that would be way, way, way more appreciated. Leave a comment down below. Who do you think is the most interesting free agent headed into the 2022-2023 offseason? Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.